Hey guys, say hello to my little friend. Hey Logan. It's been a year since I closed my tintype studio, and now and then I would still run into my old customers who still remembers me and would come up to me and say hi, which is nice. And lately I've been getting quite a few requests to shoot tintypes for corporate events, which is not something entirely new to me. I've done it before, from small scale private events to even larger scale public ones. For the small scale private events, I normally could do those on my own. But for the larger events, I would definitely need help, which is quite challenging because shooting tintypes requires very specialized skill sets. That is why I would normally recommend the black and white paper reversal process, because I feel that it's something I can easily train anyone to do. So for this video, I thought I'd show you how simple the black and white paper reversal process is and share with you a very nifty tool that might make the process even easier. So stay tuned. I have responded to enough inquiries to expect that each event will come with its own set of challenges. Things like budget and space, or even resources like running water might be hard to come by sometimes. And that is why I'm always on the lookout for solutions that can function with limited resources. And maybe that's why through very targeted advertising, I came across this self-developing film and paper cassette by Jagglé. Just to be clear, this is not a product review video. The main focus of this video is the black and white paper reversal process, which you can absolutely do without the cassette at all. This is not a sponsored video either. I actually paid for the product using my own money. I just thought that it's actually quite a cool tool that you might use that could make the entire process easier for you. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's dive into the black and white paper reversal process. As the name suggests, the photographic medium that we are using is actually black and white photographic paper. It comes in various pre-cut sizes except 4x5 inch, which is the size that I usually shoot in. What I do is I normally get it in 8x10 and then cut it down to 4 pieces of 4x5 inch sheets. Now you won't find this information on the box, but the ISO for photographic paper tends to be rated at around ISO 3. That is why it's very impractical to use it like film. Because photographic paper is mainly used in a dark room under red safe light to create positive prints from negative film. So if you shoot with photographic paper, you actually get a negative image instead of a positive image. And that is what the black and white paper reversal process is about. It's all about shooting paper negatives and then you reverse that negative image into a positive image. To give you a better idea, here's a visual representation of the entire development process. So for black and white paper reversal, what we want is to overexpose the paper by 2 stops and develop for 2 minutes to get a very dense negative image. We then transfer the paper to a stop buff for 30 seconds to stop the development so that we can turn the lights on and do the rest of the process in open trace. To reverse the negative into a positive, we use a bleaching agent to whiten the developed negative image. A strong light source is then used to re-expose the unexposed areas, revealing a faint positive image. Finally, we redevelop the paper to make the positive image more prominent. So only the first development needs to be done in the dark or in a dark room. Once the first development is done, you can do the rest of the process in open trace. And here's how the Jagglé self-developing cassette will make that part of the process so much easier for you. So here's the cassette. It's available in 3 sizes, 4x5 inch, 4x6 inch, and 5x7 inch. This is the 4x5 inch version, and it consists of 2 parts, the holder and the tray. So on its own, the holder functions like any standard film holder. You would load it the same way and it fits any standard 4x5 camera. The only difference is that it is single-sided instead of double-sided, meaning you can only take one shot instead of two. You will also notice two slides marked 1 and 2. 1 is the dark slide, just like in a standard film holder. Slide 2 is actually a trapdoor that lets the film or paper fall into the tray. So normally after taking a shot with a standard film holder, you would remove the paper in a dark bag or a dark room to develop it. Instead, with the Jagglé self-developing cassette, you simply cover the tray with the holder like a lid and pull out slide 2 to drop the paper into the tray. Once the paper drops into the tray, slide 2 goes back in. And you can pour your chemicals in through the spout, which is designed in a way that actually keeps out light but still allows liquid to enter. You then keep the lid on until the development process is complete. And since the lid is kept on, it's very hard to gauge the amount of chemicals that you're actually pouring into the tray. So it's always best to prepare just the right amount beforehand. And since the Jagglé tray holds about 200 ml of liquid, the chemical formulas that I'll be listing will be catered just for the amount. For the developer, dilute 20 ml of Ilford multigrade paper developer with 180 ml of water. This will be used for both the first and second developments. The stop bath is 10 ml of Ilford stop to 190 ml of water. Some say you can just use water, but since we'll be doing the rest of the process in open trays, it's best to use a chemical stop bath. The bleach is a 2-part solution. Part A is 100 ml of a 2% sulfuric acid solution, which you can probably get from a local chemical supplier. If you can't, you can substitute it with sodium bisulfate, which is a pH reducer commonly used in swimming pools. So just mix 5.4 grams of sodium bisulfate with 100 ml of water. Part B of the bleach is 0.4 grams of potassium permanganate in 100 ml of water. Potassium permanganate is easily available at most pharmacies. In order to get the full working bleach, you will need to mix Part A to Part B. So Part A being an acid base, you need to always mix acid to water and not the other way around. I would recommend that you mix it just before use because once mixed, it won't last very long. Finally, there's the clearing bath, which is 10 grams of sodium sulfite to 100 ml of water. If you can't find sodium sulfite, then you can try to use just water. So here's my setup for the demo. I am using just a single strobe light, which I have metered at f11 for ISO 3. But since I want to overexpose the shot by 2 stops, I kept my aperture at f5.6. Once I'm ready to take the shot, I insert the holder into the camera, lift up slide 1, take the shot, push slide 1 back down and remove the holder from the camera. Now I'm bringing the holder over to the tray, cover the tray with the holder and release the paper into the tray using slide 2. With the lid still on, I pour developer into the tray through the spout to develop the paper for 2 minutes at room temperature. Now I really recommend to set a timer for this, as this is the only part of the process where you need to keep track of the timing. After 2 minutes, I pour out the developer from the tray, keeping in mind not to discard it as I need to use it again for the second development. Now, even though the developer is poured out, we still need to use a chemical stop bath to stop the development process. So after pouring the stop bath, the paper will need to soak for at least 30 seconds before it's safe to remove the lid to check the negative. At this point, what we want to see is a very dense negative image. The negative is then transferred to the bleach, where it will stay in there until the image disappears. Now, it's perfectly normal for the paper to be discolored after the bleaching process. That is what the clearing bath is for, and I prefer to use it for cleaner results. However, if you can't get sodium sulfite for the clearing bath, then the next best alternative is to just use water. So, after the clearing bath, I like to re-expose the paper again to a strong light source, and if all goes well, you should start to see a very faint positive image. To make that faint image more prominent, we use the developer again to reveal the final positive image. And this is the part that never gets old. There is nothing quite like watching an analog image develop right before your eyes. This process also allows for interaction with your guest, and it produces unique, one-of-a-kind images that is captured directly in camera. The only drawback is that the images are flipped, so unless there is a specific request to feature logos in the shot, I would always recommend this process for corporate events. Now, you might be wondering that this is a very niche product for a very niche process, and I totally agree. However, the main purpose of this product is to be part of their daylight enlarger system, which allows you to do darkroom prints without the need of an actual darkroom. I have not tried it yet, but if you're interested to find out more, I'll put a link down in the description box below. Okay, that's all for now. Thank you for watching until the end. If you still have time, do check out my other videos if you haven't already. I aim to create more content about analog photography, and I will try to constantly improve my production quality. So, please.